Hello, hello again. Good morning. Good morning. How you all are doing today? I hope everyone is doing great. This is Saturday. You are alive. You woke up this morning. So I'm hoping that you all are doing great. And this is another powder room segment. So today I was trying to think about what should I talk about today or what should I do? Instead of the normal sharing of my paintings like this one behind me, I decided to do a story. It would be like a story time. It's really story time of the good old days of me when you're growing up, the good old days. I'm sure that you all could account for that. You must remember something from your past, something that educated, something that enlightened your spirit. And, when you think back, the good old days was nice. It was really, really a time of love and care and, affection. Your neighbor was your neighbor. Your friend was your friend. So it had that drive, that energy, that yearning to be with your neighbor, with your friend, and you sit down and you all talk and you enjoy that ambience, the atmosphere. So it was a nice time. I believe it still happens today. I believe it still, happens today, but you just have to know. I guess this time you have to be careful. This time you have to be sure what you're doing, sure where you're going and, who you're going by. Because sometimes you might think this neighbor is your friend or that friend is your friend. And they turn out to be crooks or gangsters. They turn out to be something that you didn't think they would be. So this morning, I'm going to share a little about humble beginnings. That's the name of the poem, Humble Beginnings, because to tell you the truth, I had some real nice time. Although it was sad times too, it was nice. It was nice in the sense of the culture, in the sense of your parents, your brothers or sisters. It was nice because there was such a love and a unity and a togetherness. So I'm just going to share with you today a little bit of what I experienced. And I'm sure you out there could attest to that because you all had humble beginnings too, and it holds dear to your heart. You never forget them. All right. So this poem is called Humble Beginnings. Let me just set it up here. Okay. Right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to read the poem and I will elaborate on it. Right. So I'm going to read it first and then I'm going to take it step by step and elaborate on it of what my experience was of humble beginning. So sit back and relax and enjoy. Have a cup of tea. Have something to eat. Just enjoy nice poetry. Humble beginnings. So, oh, by the way, I'll be talking in my Trini accent, like I always do. So some of the words you may understand, sometimes you will not understand. But don't worry, it's a nice piece. Humble beginnings. So taking a branch and wrapping it with toilet paper, making sure it wrapped tight, 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 pretending it's a Christmas tree. But it must be put in a pan with stones in order for it to stay still. Humble beginnings is getting the bulbs and the lights. Oh gosh, don't forget the angel here. Boy, that thing does scratch. It will make you cry. Humble beginnings is going to school with a laughing shoe. Sometimes you're twisting your toes in the shoe because you don't want the laughing to show up. It rips straight across the top. But you don't care. You're going with it. Sometimes your toes sticking out. Sometimes you even have a bus tour and you're wearing slippers. One foot with socks and shoes and the other foot with slippers and bandage on the big toe. But don't try and bounce it, because you're in trouble if you only bounce that toe. Far less for somebody to mash your toe. Man, you're pulling back your foot so fast because you don't want to get mashed. Humble beginnings is trying to comb your hair in one. But the hair picky, it looked like Bajak billness. Yeah, I remember those days. My hair was picky. Sometimes a hot comb you have to use and you're afraid you get burned. As you see the hot comb coming, you're squinting because you don't want to get burned. Do you remember goalies? Goalies hair straightener? Boy, that thing could have bun. By the time you finished, the hair was straight, but you're afraid to touch some part of the hair because it's sore. Sometimes your whole front bun way and you're in pain. The hair stick up. You can't touch it with comb. You can't do nothing. You just have to leave it, let it heal. Humble beginnings is walking to school miles and miles away. And now, those days, we didn't have no Uber. We didn't have no Lyft. Your foot was the lift. Left, right, you're marching going to school. Left, right, you're marching going back home. And don't stop to talk to nobody, Just go straight home. Humble beginnings is growing up, remembering the love and the peace of the old time days. Your neighbor was your neighbor. You had a love for one another. Because when you're hungry, you could go by the neighbor house and get a plate of food. Yes. You're not even getting food. You're getting things to cook food. Sometimes you go by the neighbor, you don't have nothing to cook. She give you salt, is the neighbor. She give you sugar, is the neighbor. Sometimes you want money to go down the road or just travel wherever you want to go, is the neighbor. Here now, sometimes you don't have food in your house. You could go by the parlor and you could trust the goods and pay next time. Those are the times I remember. Humble beginnings is folklore stories. You remember them stories they used to tell us? Yes, them stories of Laja Bless, Sukunia, and Papa Boa, and all them kind of folklore, and Dwayne. Well, here now, man, when you hear them stories start so, you hide in your face, or you're under the covers, and you're afraid to sleep. You're afraid to be in the bedroom by yourself. You want to sleep with your mother or your father, or you want your sister to stay with you. And you don't want the lights off, You want the lights on. But no matter what, humble beginning is all away. Whatever it is, it's you, it's me, it's all away. Because it started somewhere and carried over from grandma, grandpa, uncle, aunt, nenen, the ancestors, mommy, daddy, siblings. Everybody had a story. And those were the days. It will live long to tell their story to the young ones that's coming up. So that's my poem of humble beginnings. Now, I'm going to, it's just like story time. Today is like a story time. So we will take the first line, a few lines from the first poems. Now, I remember when Christmas time come, although Christmas gone, but still you remember what you used to do. I remember me and my brothers would take this twig. It's like a tree, like a branch, you just take it, break it off, and you have it there, and you wrap in toilet paper like that, wrapping toilet paper. You wrap it so tight, it's looking white as snow, right? But that was our Christmas tree. We didn't have money to buy Christmas tree. So we make it, we be creative. And we would wrap this thing so tight, and then we will put on the light bulbs and put on the Christmas lights. Oh my God, but the angel hair was the worst. The angel hair was the worst. When that thing get on your skin, you scratching for days. I don't think, I believe like even if you bathe or anything, you're still scratching. I think that was worse than stinger neckles. It was really horrible, horrible. When you think you get it off, it come back. And we were so proud. And you put that stick in a pan of stone, and there is your Christmas tree. It lighten up nice, it looking good. You didn't care about what they're selling in the store. This was your happy time. This was your happiness. So this was the time that you enjoy that moment, it was a false tree, but you didn't care. You're young and you're enjoying it. You understand? So that was that with that Christmas tree. And when Christmas done, you unpack it, you unmount it, just like a normal Christmas tree. But those were happy moments to me. I still remember those times. It was an exciting time, And I remember my dad will come and bring all the goodies and the nice eats and treats. Oh my gosh. All they want to do is eat everything, So I remember these things, and they used to shoot flares from the sea, from the ships. They used to shoot these red flares, and everybody, the whole neighborhood would come out and see these beautiful flares being shooted out, So I hold these things dear to me because it was family, it was unity, it was love. You understand? So the other thing was going to school. Now, going to school, I remember my mother would wash my clothes, and we have something called starch. Once you use starch on your clothes, oh my God, the pleats, neat. You could get cut it like a razor blade. You're getting cut. You had to be so careful. Plus the pleats was so neat. And you're going to school looking nice in your white shoes. At that time, those shoes was butter bullets. Butter bullets. And I was proud of my butter bullets. Everybody looking to get Converse. And there was this Chinese shoes that we used to wear too. But, I was proud of my butter bullets. And I will wear this shoe. The shoe will be laughing. Just to the top, straight across it, laughing. And here now, I didn't care. I didn't care. I go to school with it, and I would use whitening. And I would whiten that shoe and clean it up so good. Yeah, I didn't care. And I will go to school proud in my butter bullets. I remember at one point in time, I got a bus too. And I didn't like the idea of wearing one foot with socks and shoes and the next foot with a slipper or sandals. Nah. So I think I used to go with both sandals on my foot and bandage on my toe. And you don't want nobody mash your toe. You don't want to bounce it. You don't want nobody mash it. So you keep moving your foot, switching your foot. Every time you see somebody coming to hug you or coming to play, you can't entertain and let anybody do nothing to that big toe because you're in problems. You understand? You're in real problems. But don't talk about the hair. Oh my God, my hair was picky. I ain't gonna lie to say. You see how it get along now? I catch my tail to get it to like this. But growing up, my hair was picky. My hair was picky like Bajak. Bajak Mazi went through my hair and billness. You understand? Because I couldn't comb my hair in one. We had something called ring combs. Ring combs was the normal thing. I don't think we had things like woogie and all them. I can't recall that, but the ring comb was it. Man, once you pull that hair and you put it up in one, you use a ring comb. But my hair couldn't go up in one because the whole front eat way. Because I think what I used to do, I used to be twisting it, and I used to rock and I used to bounce my head. I don't know why I used to do that. But all the front of my hair did eat way and the back too. So to solve that, I remember using Goldies. goalies was a hair. It wasn't a relaxer, it was a straightener. Man, when my hair finished, the whole front of my hair burn, afraid to touch my hair, but the hair was straight. I could have put it up in one. You understand? But I went through so much. I saw for days. I couldn't touch my hair. I had to wait till it healed in order to take all them, what they call it, bobo. We used to call it bobo. So you have bobo in your head, which is the scab. You understand? So that wasn't comfortable at all. It wasn't comfortable at all. All right? And I'm sure some of you all could remember that. You're trying to put your hair in one. You're trying to comb up your hair nice. You want to look nice to go to school. You understand? And you can't, my hair was really picky. Really picky. I don't know. I don't know how I managed to get my hair in one. But even though I use the goalies, sometimes I use the iron comb once. That was another thing too you could have do. Use the iron comb. But boy, I used to flinch and I used to, and you like if you're doing basketball, you're dodging all out because you're afraid the iron comb, because the iron comb hot. So once that get in your hair, that straightening that hair, you understand? So you want to look nice, but it gave you a good feeling about yourself, right? It gave you a good feeling about yourself. But you didn't want to touch. Sometimes the comb might touch a little bit and you flinch and I sure you all remember them days. But another thing too, I used to walk to school. I used to walk home and walk to school. Walk home, and so I did that every day, Monday to Friday, walk. We didn't have Uber and Lyft and all them things. No, we didn't have that. Your feet was lift. Sometimes you're living high up on Mount Hololo. That is what we would say. We would say Mount Hololo when it's a big hill. So you had to climb up Mount Hololo. It was like the local Mount Everest. So it wasn't easy. It's like, oh gosh. Oh gosh, you had to go up this hill and you had to go down the hill. And you had to go up and it's so you're toiling, but you had to do it. You had to reach home. And one thing I remember too, my mother always used to bring food. Oh my gosh, she would cook the delicious food and bring it for me at lunchtime. I cherish those moments because, every day she would bring that food. Sometimes I get only 25 cents, but 25 cents was money to me. 25 cents that they call a quarter here in the States. Man, when you get that buying about 3 or 4 things, you could have enjoyed that money and stretch it because you were so glad. And if I get 50 cents, oh, hallelujah, praise God, I'm jumping for joy. I'm glad that I get this 50 cents. And I would get this money and buy my little snacks, buy my stuff, and I would enjoy that, Another thing is the neighbors. Oh gosh, let me tell you something. Don't let a neighbor see you doing anything wrong, because before you reach home, the news done reach your mother or your father. So you have to prepare yourself for licks if you do anything wrong. You have to be respectful. You have to don't disrespect nobody. You have to make sure and say hello, good evening, whoever you see. Hi, how you doing? Hi. Whole time you're smiling and you're walking up the road saying hi to people. Man, you make sure and have your respect for these people because you don't want to hear that news reaching home that you was in a fight, that you didn't say good evening, that you watched this person. Oh my God, these neighbors could have talked, They could have talked, man. But anyway, it was a love, It was a love with these neighbors. You still, had a love with them because, they're looking out for you. They're looking out for you, right? And you have to make sure that you do the right thing. You don't want your mother to know that you did this or did that. You understand? Another thing I remember too, school days. Another thing with the school days, we had a ruler. There was this wooden ruler. And this ruler had a blade on it. So instead of the teacher beating you on your hand flat with the ruler, they will use that blade part on your hand. Sometimes they used to hit you at the back of your calf. Sometimes they had go over a whip. Man, I used to laugh when them children getting licks, especially the fellas and them, when they get that go over whip, whap, whap, on their butt. They will hold the bottom and squeeze and they dancing and they stand up straight and tall and like if they, you know, like if they're catching fits or something. But those were those were times that you will remember. Those teachers was no joke. Those teachers was no joke. Now they ain't beating children in school, the children fighting, they doing all kind of things, they disrespecting, they all are fighting in the school, they're fighting in the road. They are out of control now. You understand? But one thing, it was discipline. It was discipline in those days. You know, even though you're getting licks, you'll feel the pain, your hand swell, your foot swell, whatever, you cry, your tears, you're all over, you're all over the place. Your snotty nose. Oh gosh, I remember them days. I remember because I used to get licks too. I remember a time I didn't give a certain message to a teacher. I was sick and I went home and my mother asked me, she said, did you give so-and-so the message? I said, no, mommy, I wasn't feeling good. I'm feeling sick. Go back to the school and give. I had to walk all the way back, sick as I is, to make sure I give that message to that teacher and then walk back home. She said, did you give her the message? I said, yes. Yes, mommy. So those days, parents was really tough. But anyway, we going down the road. Sometimes like neighbors again, you didn't have food, you didn't have this, you could have go and sit down and eat. You could have eat food by a neighbor. You could have get tea, anything. You sit down and laugh all day, drink whatever. Nowadays, you have to be so careful where you're going and who is your friend. You understand? You couldn't do that. Sometimes sugar run out neighbor day. Salt run out neighbor day. You have food neighbor day. You are close away neighbor day. Everything the neighbor, you run by the neighbor. But here, you don't run by the neighbor, so you understand? You have to know who is who. These days, you have to know who is who. I remember them stories too. Man, when Cora gone especially, that is the time to look in to tell folklore stories and you sit down there and you're frightened, talking about all these different kind of stories with the Dwayne. That's Caribbean folklore with Dwayne and Larger Bless and all these kind of folklore creatures, ghosts and all Dracula. And I remember my neighbors used to cut plastic like teeth and put it in the mouth and they put on a cape and run around like vampires. They used to do some crazy things. Even they used to wear face masks and those things. I used to run inside and lock the door. I used to run inside because I used to be frightened. But it was happy time, happy time. I was like a tomboy. I was in basketball, cricket, football. I was in everything. You understand? So I enjoy those moments. Pick a pan, hide and seek. You grow up with all these different things, you know? When you hear the folklore story, you cover your head. You don't want to, you don't want to hear no more. You're frightened. You're afraid to go and sleep. You know, you're afraid to even interact with anybody. No, you want to come out the room. You want to come out under the covers. You're just there, you know. But humble beginnings is all of we. It's all of us because we all have a story to tell. We all had that moment where we had a good time. We had a good laughter, a good feeling, a good, you know, you remember these things and it comes dear to your heart, you know. And these are the stories that the grandpa, that the grandma, your mommy, your daddy, your aunt, your uncle, your sister, your nan, and everybody had a story to tell. Even if it wasn't a story, it's something else they had to share about their time growing up. So it was a nice time. It was a nice feeling. And these are the stories that we will continue to carry on for our children, our grandchildren, whoever. You know, these are stories that will be in our hearts that we could still, you know, carry through and push forward. Push forward. You understand? Because, you know, we still love to hear it. We still, even grown as I am, I still love to hear those stories. I still love to hear, you know, about Elijah Bless. And some that I remember at one point in time, my mother, she showed me her leg. Now, sukanya is something that they transform in the night. I am not sure if they're still around, but those were the days when I was growing up in the 70s. They had a lot of that. And these women, these old women would transform. How did they transform? I don't know. I think they read a lot of bad books and all these different things. So in the night, they will be like, to tell you the truth, I don't even know how they get in your house. To tell you the truth, I don't know how they get in your house. But when you wake up in the morning, you don't hear them, you don't see them. When you wake up in the morning, you see a big blue mark on your leg. So which means they come and they bite you, suck your blood, and they go on the way. So they always tell you to put garlic by the door, throw salt by the door, because these things does chase them away. You understand? So my mother she had a big mark, a blue mark, a black and blue mark on her leg, and she said that is sukanya. I said, sukanya? And one day we were walking down the road and she said, is she? So she's showing me this old lady living in a house. The lady was very old. She alone lived in this kind of dilapidated house. And she said, she's a sukanya. So I just watch the lady and, you know, you just point them out, you know, you just know who they are. But anyway, the time is drawing to a close. So I hope you all enjoyed my story of growing up, you know, and I hope that it brought back some sort of reflection, it brought back some sort of memory, and you could say, yes, I remember that. You understand? I remember that. Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, God. Oh, I could forget. So this is my story of humble beginnings, and I'm glad that you tune in to listen to the Powder Room Show. Until next time, we will see.